So, Astrid, thank you so much for your time today. I greatly appreciate you speaking with me. We have a lot to talk about today, but before we get into where you are right now, let's talk about your start. You started acting at a very young age, and what was it about it do you think that made you want to gravitate towards this profession?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to be here chatting with you today. I think that just from the very first audition I ever did for a play, I had the most fun I'd ever had in my life. And from the moment that I read for that role and I performed live for a room full of people for the first time, I felt this rush of joy and excitement that I had never felt before. And I just knew that that joy was what I wanted to chase after for the rest of my life.
I love it. I love that so much. And one thing that I did find interesting about you when looking into your background is that you worked in a casting office before acting professionally. So, what do you think that experience taught you about auditions and how you approach roles?
Yeah, I think that my internship definitely helped me become the performer I am today. I think I learned so much about the industry and I learned so much about what makes one audition more successful than another. And I think the biggest takeaway I had was that the people who were booking roles weren't the people who were making the wrong or the right choices for that character. It was the people who brought themselves to the role and made those characters really full-fleshed and three-dimensional and just made them interesting instead of playing it in a way that's very black and white. The most successful way to play a role is to play it in the way that only you can, that to bring the point of view that only you can have to this person's life.
Right, right. I love that. So every audition is truly different because everybody's bringing a bit of themselves into this character. I
Yeah.
like that. I love the takeaway. So we have to talk about His and Hers. As of today, it's still the number one trending show on Netflix. So congratulations to that.
Yeah.
But something like this, it is adapted work from Alice Feeney. Are you someone who wants to read that adapted work first, or are you like, you know what, I just want to live on the page. How it is adapted is what I want to take in versus going to the book first.
Yeah, well, so I'm trained in theater. I have a theater degree, so I am always inclined to go to the text. So I read the book immediately upon booking. I think I bought the book that day and I started reading it that night. Um, I there were some differences in the teleplay and in the book, but I still think that reading the book gave me more insight into what made Catherine who she was and what made her tick. And I think that the book was a little bit longer than the show, so there was more information and inspiration to draw from. And I still think the show was pretty loyal to the book in a lot of aspects. So I liked being able to use that to inform some of the choices that I made.
I love that. We're gonna talk about Miss Catherine. But for the few who have not seen the show, can you describe your character a little bit?
Yes, Catherine is kind of an outcast who goes to high school with young Anna. And she is treated pretty unfairly by those around her. And Anna comes to the school, and Catherine kind of gets her first taste of what might be a new friend group that she could join.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
we'll leave it there. I mean, it's been out for a few weeks.
I
Um, we don't need to necessarily go into major spoilers. But with Catherine, I am a firm believer in hurt people, and I
Yeah.
think Catherine is a good example of that. But is there any, like, for you reading this character and playing her, could you get behind any of her rationale or her mindset in the things that happen specifically with Anna and with her sister?
Yeah, I think that hurt people is exactly the right way to put it. I think I have a lot of empathy for Catherine. I think that when you're playing a character like that, you have to, because you have to be able to see where they come from in order to successfully bring that story to life. I think for me, I still have a lot of empathy for her because she's a kid. And I think that when you're a kid, a lot of your decision making isn't rational and you don't realize how intense the consequences are of your actions, and things that you might think in the moment aren't as big of a deal are actually very life altering, which is also funny because I think on the other hand, in high school, you often think that things that are life altering, things that are really not that big of a deal are life altering.
Yeah.
I think that's just being a teen is, being naive and being reactive and being emotional. And I think that at her core, she is a sad, lonely girl who wants to be seen and who wants to be understood.
Yeah, yeah. It's good that you mentioned that she is a kid because you watching the show is like, okay, these frontal lobes have not been formed,
Yeah.
and they are, like you said, m making decisions that, an adult necessarily might not have made. But man, oh man, the internet, as I'm sure as you know, was just trashing Catherine, and I'm just, just trying to understand, like, you know, why she would do the things that she did. But, for those who have not watched the show, when you watch it, you'll understand more of where we're coming from. But the show did deal with some very heavy subject matter. So and I would imagine like in between takes, it wouldn't be that heavy on set. So how do you think, this experience has taught you to decompress a little bit from your character work? And what are some of the things that you think you would take moving forward in your career?
Yeah, I think we were really lucky on the show. We were very well taken care of, and we had an intimacy coordinator who was really wonderful. And we talked with her in depth before we shot the scenes, even before the day we filmed, we had been in touch with her about, ways we could keep ourselves safe mentally and physically on the set. She suggested, bringing things that would ground us to set, like if we had crystals, something that we could keep in our pocket that would, kind of tether us to peaceful energy. And that was really great. And she was there with us on the day when we filmed, and she helped choreograph the scene. And so even when we were doing the takes and we were in the moments, it still felt very safe. And it was heavy, but it was an environment in which we felt like we could carry that out. And we weren't going to be taken advantage of, or we just felt very supported. And then in between takes, everyone checked on us, like our AD, our director, and our intimacy coordinator all checked on us, and also everyone in wardrobe and everyone in makeup, like everyone on set was really amazing. And the girls were all amazing and they were watching on the monitors. And so it was nice in between takes to go back and then, have a whole crew of people checking in on you and making sure that you're okay and seeing if you need anything and giving us our jackets or blankets or our Uggs. And I think that just taking that feeling of safety and community is something that I want to carry with me throughout my career.
Excellent. Shout out to the cast. I mean, the crew for looking out for you
Yeah, they
girls.
were so great.
So you talk about moving forward. What is a dream role or a dream collaborator of yours that you would want in your career?
Oh gosh, I've always loved any kind of offbeat ensemble comedy. I loved Broad City. I love Lena Dunham's Girls, anything that's about some quirky women who get up to shenanigans, I think is a dream role of mine. I would love to be in something written by Lena Dunham or by Mindy Kaling or um Emerald Fennell if I'm going into movies. I think I want to work with more women and I want to work in more comedies. That would be the ultimate dream, I think.
Well, there we go. We'll put it out into the universe and
Yeah.
see what sticks. So before I let you go, Astrid, is there anything that you want to add? Are there any upcoming projects that you can tease? Any social media handles that you want to share?
Oh my gosh. Well, you can follow me on Instagram at Astrid Rotenberry. It's just my first and last name. Very creative, I know. Um, and I just want to thank everyone for watching the show. I'm so happy seeing everyone's reactions. It's been really fun to just watch everyone reacting as it plays out, seeing people say, I knew it in episode 5, and then coming back at the end of episode 6 and saying, Oh, I was gagged again. Um, so yeah, I just want to thank everyone for all of their support and to say, watch his and hers if you haven't.
There you go, Astrid. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you again for your time, and I wish you nothing but the best moving forward.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely speaking with you. Thank you for talking with me.